Extreme Collectibles here with, I don't want to say an epiphany, but maybe an epiphany. So when I make these reviews, obviously I edit a little bit to add in the photos and some of the titles at the bottom, but I don't really watch the reviews back. And recently I watched a couple of my old reviews, and I watched one that I spoke very quickly, where I was very excited. So, obviously not that fast, but one where I was very excited, and the other one where I paced myself quite a bit, like I'm trying to do now. And I personally enjoyed the one where I paced myself quite a bit. So that is what I'm going to try to do from now on. Now, with that being said, I film reviews all the time, and sometimes when I upload them, they're a month or two old, so I have no idea when this will film, but or not film, but air. But moving forward, I'm going to try and do that. So let's get started with this Alien piece. Extreme Collectibles here with quarter scale Syl statue from Hollywood Collectible Group, or HCG. Syl is a character from the movie Species, and I'm probably going to talk a lot about the movie Species today because the movie is better than the statue. But I went ahead and purchased her because they were doing a Memorial Day sale. She's normally $330 and they were doing half price. So I figured for a movie that has a lot of meaning to me, a lot of nostalgia, and I enjoyed quite a few parts of the movie, why not go ahead and make the purchase? So I did. They made 500 of the collector's edition. The exclusive edition, which is what I got, has one difference, and they made 150 of those, is it has a pretty cool art print. And I actually like this a lot. And I'm not a big art print collector unless it's autographed, but really cool to have. But it's going to go back in the box. Shipping was about $20. It's two pieces, real easy to put together. I should have done an unboxing video and a assembly video, but the base and her is one piece. And it came in a pretty small box, actually. So that's probably why the cheaping was so cheap. The cheaping was so cheap. See what happens when I try and talk too fast. The shipping was so cheap. Yeah, forgot what I was gonna say, but. Also, another note, if you watch the intro of this, I don't plan what I'm going to say on these reviews, which some of you know. So, Species is a movie from the 1990s, and I remember it because it was a rated R movie that I actually snuck into with some friends, and I don't believe I was 17 at the time. I think that's still the age limit to get in. And there's a couple cool things about the movie. Number one is there were a lot of popular actors in it. I can't even remember her name. Ben Kingsley. Marg Helgenberger, not Lawrence Fishburne, not Morpheus. Oh, Forrest Whitaker. Man, I'm racist. Thinking those are the same people. Forrest Whitaker, and it introduced, at least to the big screen, Natasha Henstridge. And Natasha Henstridge has been in a few films since then, but she was your classic blue-eyed, blonde, big-boobed woman, and she got a whole bunch of naked in the movie multiple times. So as a teenager, that was really exciting for me. I guess as an adult, it's still exciting when a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, big-boobed woman gets naked. But essentially, the movie was, they were SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, was sending out messages into space, and they got a message back, and the message told them how to combine alien DNA with their own. So they did that, and a girl was born, essentially a girl, what they thought was a girl, who grew up very fast. In a couple of weeks, she became a full-grown woman. And on the outside appearance, she was human. She was Natasha Henstridge, very attractive. And in the movie, she decided she wanted to have a baby. And she also killed anybody that got in her way. So a team was created to try and track her down. Alfred Molina, Dr. Octopus, was also one of the main characters in the movie. But she decided she wanted to have a baby, so Pretty easy for her. She escaped to LA, and pretty easy for her to try and find a mate in Los Angeles. And there's just some really cool lines in the movie, and some of it's really corny, but I remember one of the lines was, you don't want us to capture her, and one of the main characters, the main male protagonist, is like, I'm pretty sure not. Nobody ever wants me to find anything they don't want dead. What were some of the other good lines? She was having or about to have sex with someone, and they found out where she was at, so they called the guy and left a message on his machine that he's about to copulate with a creature from outer space to stop. So sounds pretty corny, which it kind of is looking back, but very, very cool movie. I recommend you check it out if you like sci-fi stuff like that. And I believe they made a number of sequels as well. Species 2, Species 3, and I think I saw those at one point, but they didn't really stand out like the original movie did. So this is made by Hollywood Collectible Group. I do have 2 other pieces from HCG. I have the life-size Alien Queen coming out of the wall. There's a review on that. And then I have the model scale Alien Power Loader, so you can check out that review as well. On top of that, they have a few other pieces that I really want. One is kind of a personal grail of mine. It's the quarter scale Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. I want the exclusive version. They didn't make very many of those, and it rarely comes up for sale. And if so, it's way overpriced. And then I'm really tempted to pull the trigger on, they do a quarter scale Ghostbusters selection. And they also do a life-size Ghostbusters trap. I think that would be really cool. But I really want the quarter scale Slimer they have. I'm really on the fence. But the nice thing is their quarter scale pieces are very affordable. The bigger ones, not so much. But anyway, conceptually and design, I mean, design's pretty simple. It's 2 pieces, so there's not really a lot going on there. She does wiggle back and forth. So I could see that being an issue in the future. But concept and design, so she's on a base. They have the nameplate on the front. And in my mind, the base has the alien writing that was sent down from the satellite or whatever. There's no spaceships or anything like that in the movie, but it kind of reminds me of that. And then she is in mid-transformation mode. So in the movie, you see slight hints of her transforming all throughout the movie. And in the end, she's full-blown alien after she finally is able to mate, and she has a baby with Dr. Octopus. For those of you that have seen the movie, you totally get what I just said. And so this is cool, kind of a mid-transformation scene, and it's a museum pose. She's standing there very stoic. So that's kind of why I pulled the trigger on this. I really like the concept. And on top of just liking the movie, it's going to go with all my movie pieces. I have a Blade, Crow, Terminator, Conan, RoboCop, Rocketeer, Darth Vader, and then some horror pieces that kind of line up with this theme as well, science fiction horror. So cool concept, design, there's not really a lot to it. She does have a few pieces here that almost feel like they could break off because they're just the way it's designed. Not cheap or anything like that, just the way it's designed. So let's look at the paint and sculpt here. And this is my 3rd HCG piece. And if you look at the other reviews, I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but I'm not satisfied. But considering what I paid for this piece, I paid $170, not even that much. I think 160 something shipped. Can't really complain too much on one end. But then a lot of people would say $160 is a lot for a quarter scale statue. But those of you watching know that I have quite a few quarter scale statues, much more expensive. So starting at the base here, you see the nameplate of the movie on the front. And I've said this before, I hate pieces that have nameplates on the front. If you don't know where the movie's from, why do you even care? So that always bothers me, but it looks good. They use the same lettering that they did at the beginning of the movie. And of course there's a small trademark sign, but my wish is they could have just avoided this. The rest of the base, all the alien writing I talked about, you can kind of see it ingrained in there. And then they have, different colors of green and black and almost some yellow hinges in there. I do like that. I think that's a good representation of any type of alien. And it almost looks shiny to an extent, but it's dull paint, it's flat paint. So I'm not sure how they did that, but it looks good. So I am a fan of this base. I don't think it's an amazing base by any means, but there's some really cool details to this. And then as we get on the statue itself, A lot of disappointment, to be honest with you, when you look at it close, which, as I alluded to, that's what you get. You get what you pay for. It's a fact in life. So really, just starting at the bottom, I think it's great movie likeness to start with. This kind of scaly armor that's all over her and these contrasting shiny green colors and yellow colors are very accurate to the movie, especially when you look at her feet here. Again, I'm not a foot fetish person by any means, but her feet are probably the best part of her. It's very accurate to the movie. I like the different colors. On the back, coming out of her heels, she kind of has this almost looks like plants growing out, but almost tentacles, and they have some red on them. Almost looks like roots to a plant. Kind of interesting. Moving up the back of her legs, I think this is where this is a big miss. So it's not as shiny anymore, and there's not really any of those scales that she had. There are a few different lines and features, but there's no musculature really. And she has a very big ass. I don't remember how big her ass was in the movie. And she has the same type of plant-type tentacles on the side of her leg. And speaking of the side of her leg, if you actually look at the sides, that's where it's a little bit more scaly, as it was on her feet, but a little less so. Different shades of greens going in there, and that same aspect can be found on the front of her legs as well, moving all the way up to her knees. Then above her knees, again, some opportunity on the sculpt. I think they should have made it scaly throughout, and I know it's kind of a mid-transformation, so maybe that's what they were going for. Kind of interesting as you look at it here. And then her torso, her stomach, it almost looks like she has a beer belly, which she was in very good shape in the movie, but again, she's transforming into her true alien self. And then what's interesting is if you move to the side where her right side where she is transforming, not only her arm but her torso right below her bosoms, there's a lot of that scaly aspect, and I like that a lot. I think that's spot on. That's exactly what it should be in the movie, and it's very reminiscent of what I talked about a few minutes ago with her feet. And that same type of scale texture is also on her back. And then moving on to her left arm, which hasn't transformed yet, I think it looks good. It's a good skin tone on it, very pale. I think she was slightly pale in the movie. Good sculpt on her hands and her fingers, and then she has painted nails. And then moving on to her portrait, this is where it's a big miss. There's a tiny bit of likeness that you can see in her, but it's a big miss. It doesn't look like Natasha Henstridge, and it looks very mannequin-like from the painted on eyebrows. They should have sculpted those on. Her nose is almost overdone, even though she does have a slightly bigger nose in the movie. The lips look good. They should have done some type of definition in her cheekbones just to help with it a little bit. And then where her hair meets her head, that's a big miss. It doesn't look real. It looks like a doll. And then her hair throughout, just a big miss on that. They're trying to do dirty blonde hair or dyed hair, and there's no individual strands. Looks like a big mop on her head. Definitely some missed opportunity. So most of these things that I'm disappointed with, I knew going into it, so disappointment's probably the wrong word because I expected it. Disappointment's when you're expecting something different. But it is a unique piece. I would love for somebody to come out with another Sil. I'm sure they're going to remake the movie. They remake every freaking movie nowadays. Everything's a sequel or a remake. So those are my thoughts on quarter scale HCG Sil. If you have this piece, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think of the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, check it out for sure. It's worth a watch if you like sci-fi stuff. So with that being said, I don't have anything else to say. So thanks for watching. Take care.